Did you know that a new season of Highguard started recently? Yet I don't see anyone really talking about it at all. I'm not even kidding. Episode 2 of Highguard, which is effectively their seasons, has gone live in the past day or two. And I wouldn't blame you if you never noticed. And also you're going to see my face in this video, which is something new. Let me know if you like that or not. If not, I will just go back to being a faceless YouTube channel. I do not mind one bit. But anyway, because usually when new content goes live for a game, player counts usually spike. People show up in droves to try out the free content. Yet for Highguard, that isn't really happening. But it's not just Highguard, it's also Horizon Hunters Gathering, another game I want to talk about where we're starting to see a pattern form here that keeps telling the same story. This constant chase of live service mixed with the nonsensical realization that maybe people just don't want these games in the first place. So let's start with Highguard Episode 2. Now I'm not here to trash individual devs, the people working on these projects are doing what they can with what they're being given, I get that. But Episode 2 really highlights something important. This just feels like a product that exists because it had to, man, not because that it should really. What angers me about Highguard is that the developers behind it clearly came from a position of live service game development, which is fine, I get that. But the problem is that they seem to have learned nothing from what they've made before. Instead, they're just attempting to replicate the exact same thing they already made again. But now you ride wolves, I guess, or with like the new hero Ekon, you can just turn yourself into one now as well. Yeah, there's a new hero in Highguard in case you also didn't know that too. You probably didn't even know that he existed in the first place. His name is Ekon, like I said. It's this guy that you're seeing on screen here right now. He's actually cool looking, I'm not gonna lie. I think his design is actually pretty solid, but that's the thing as well. When it comes to Highguard, the character designs are actually fine for the most part. The women, they don't look like hags. The men look like idealized versions of what guys would want to look like. You know, fit, strong, masculine, you get the idea. It's like everything is compelling besides what you're actually able to do in the game. And with Episode 2, nothing seems to have changed really. And I swear I'm not trying to sound negative here, I just can't see this working the more that time goes on. Episode 2 brings a new map called Skydrift. It's like a big floating island in the sky, hence the name, which has its own castle, new pathways to chase, and areas to fight. There's also now a ranked mode for Highguard where the few that actually still play this game can now fight to prove who's the best in this game, I guess, if that's something you actually care about doing. Personally, I've never cared for ranked modes in multiplayer games myself. I always play these sorts of games for fun, I guess. I'm of the mind if I'm not being paid to grind some mode like it's supposed to be my job or something, I just don't really care about it, I gotta admit. Look, I work enough as it is. I'm not about to log into a game and work a second job to raise my digital rank in a video game as well. I know I'm probably in the minority here, and that's totally fine. But yeah, there's also a ranked mode if you care about that as well. There's 7 ranks to ranked mode. It goes from bronze, which is symbolized as a hare, with Grandmaster being the highest. And the symbol for Grandmaster is a Leviathan. Ranked, however, is only 3v3, not 5v5, so there you go, the more you know. The whole point of ranked is to earn banner frames, which are just cosmetic outlines, if you will, that cover your profile, so when people click on your profile, they can go, wow, you are a Grandmaster, I guess. I guess that's very cool. They also added a wolf mount to the game that functions the same as any other mount, but now it's a wolf. I'm really grasping for straws here, I know, to make this sound compelling, but honestly, the ranked mode is just kind of whatever. In terms of actual changes to Highguard, you have better loot dropping now from chests that are stronger, so that's fine, I guess. You have ultimate charges, which are like spawn in these white barrels on the map, and they obviously are there to, you know, upgrade your ultimate so you can use it faster. You can also now leave waypoints on the map, which seems like a basic feature that like any one of these kinds of games would need, I guess. And then you also have speed gates that are always on now so you can move faster, which I guess is good too in a way. Wildlight has also added stat sheets finally to the game, so you can see how many times you died or won a game if that also matters to you. They also introduced the new orange weapon mods, which are the best guns in the game, stuff like drum magazines for certain guns or impact rounds for others. Probably the best addition is the defensive phase has been reduced from a whole minute to now just 30 seconds, thank God. And besides that, the other additions are like they made the anchor stone take longer to blow up, and you can do stuff like ping certain character abilities like ice walls even. You're probably hearing all of this and going, wow, that sounds great. Does it make the game any more fun? Well, not really, no. You see, the game mode is still the same as always. You run, you collect loot, you grab the sword, you siege the building, and that's pretty much it, and rinse and repeat. It's still not very fun to do, honestly. The thing is that they can add as many new heroes as they want to this game, new maps or guns. It doesn't fix the core problem of Highguard, which is its actual gameplay modes. The game just needs team deathmatch, domination, or something else besides just grabbing the sword, blowing up the base over and over again. As I said in my previous video on Overwatch, you need variety in live service in order to keep it alive. You just do, unless your name is of course Arc Raiders. You probably just need some more game modes, because what Highguard has here is honestly not really compelling enough. Like I said, a new season I guess started. Did it bump up the player counts at all? Let's go look at the Steam charts. As you can see here, Highguard is sitting at around 5,400 players right now, and by the way, I am recording this on a Sunday morning, so these numbers are indicative of people who would technically have time off on a weekend to play this game in the first place. Either way, this means that Highguard is down now to just 5.5% of their entire original install base since launch, and the game is not even a month old yet on Steam anyways. Again, like I said, why do devs keep making games like this? And now let's pivot for a second to Horizon Hunters Gathering, which is another game that got announced recently, and has had, well, not exactly the best reception either from people who've reacted to the trailer. You can already tell that Horizon Hunters has a very different art style from the main series of games, going for an animated aesthetic over hyper-realism. Honestly, I'm not against the art style at all myself. I totally get why they went with this, because it allows them to be more unrealistic, if you will, with character proportions and animations to make it look more animated and lively. Is it basically because Fortnite is cartoony and they're chasing that crowd somewhat? I mean, absolutely. At the very least, like, Hunters is not going to be a PvP game like Highguard. Instead, Hunters is going all in on the PvE content, which, whether you think the game looks good or not, it's a smart move on Sony's part. I've been saying for a while that the future of live service games is not PvP only, but ensuring that you have a thriving PvE mode as well. It's a lot easier to get people to buy into your game and play it if they're actually able to enjoy the game and not get one-shotted by some streamer and his pals who play 15 hours every day. Hunters instead will apparently be a lot like Monster Hunter, which is an obvious inspiration. You pick a hero class from the characters and you then hunt the robot dinosaurs and such with random people for loot and level up. Again, this alone is going to make Hunters way more compelling than, say, Highguard for many, because it's a game built on cooperation over toxicity, and stuff like ranked modes, which people obviously get very heated in. That being said, personally, I think that none of the hero classes in Hunters looks very cool to me. They don't really fit the aesthetic of Horizon's world pretty much, with some heroes just having pink hair randomly, and the only white guy that's in the game is like some old dude. There's even a big fat burly woman who also has a peg leg of all things, which, I mean, what did you expect really? Of course Sony would still be doing this. Their Western studios continue making the worst character designs known to humanity again and again, but why I bring up Horizon Hunters alongside Highguard is to prove how this is not a one-time problem. Instead, these developers and publishers are effectively sacrificing money and time in the millions to chase that annoying live service high. The saddest part about Horizon Hunters is that it's not being made by some external team, which is what I figured was actually happening in the first place, but it isn't. No, the game is actually being made by Guerrilla Games, you know, the main studio that made Horizon 1 and 2 already. So you're probably thinking, wait a second, so what about Horizon 3 then? They've been teasing that game since Forbidden West launched, and yeah, you're right. You see, instead of working on a Horizon 3 and closing out that trilogy of games that started this franchise in the first place, Guerrilla is instead now working on this live service Fortnite-looking Monster Hunter spin-off game instead, as The Escapist confirms here, as you can see. Yeah, Guerrilla is all hands on deck with this live service Horizon game. What's ridiculous is that the studio director at Guerrilla confirmed in that same article where they said this: "I want to be very clear about one thing. We absolutely love making single-player games and we're going to keep making them." Okay, so why is your main team making this game instead of like the easy slam dunk that is Horizon 3 instead? Like, what are we doing? As Jason Schreier of Bloomberg confirmed here via Blue Sky, according to his sources, he confirms that Guerrilla, as in the main team, is making Hunters, and that apparently the Horizon 3 game people actually want is just years away at this point. Which means, again, for like God knows how many times already, Sony has forced their first-party studios to abandon what really works for them, which is single-player games, to chase that live service slice of the pie, just like Highguard. And I'll be honest, people want Horizon 3 far more than they do some like PvE spin-off version of the series that looks nothing like it in the first place. My fear is that if Hunters flops, that Guerrilla will be hit with mass layoffs, which will further impede the development of Horizon 3. But this all feels avoidable if they just, made Horizon 3 and invested in that over whatever this game is supposed to be. Plus, we know how this works. Just like Highguard, these sorts of games are built to never technically end. If Horizon Hunters is meant to succeed, then it, like Highguard, will need fresh content constantly, meaning that these studios will then have to allocate resources away from their main projects to make these games have what they need to keep going. Remember when the Great Web got leaked at Insomniac and it was a live service Spider-Man game, and then we found out the reason why the Great Web was cancelled was because it would have turned Insomniac into an exclusive live service studio and no longer a single player one? That's kind of what's happening with Horizon right now. And honestly, in general, Sony has been pushing Horizon far too much that it seems like they're trying to turn it into like their main franchise or something. It just reeks of what Highguard is too. It doesn't feel organic to me anymore. These sorts of games that are not being made out of passion anymore. It instead just feels like what I said at the beginning of this video. This just feels like a product that exists because it had to, not because it should. And that's how I feel about a lot of these things. Highguard is not paying off for Wildlight, clearly. You lost 95% of your players on Steam alone before your first content drop even came. Despite you launching it with a new hero, mods for guns, and whatever else, the be-all end-all is that you are sitting somewhere in the 5 to 7% window of players either way, and you can't survive on that. With Horizon Hunters, I feel as though Sony is not going to make it free to play, but probably instead turn it into a $40 game like Arc Raiders was instead. Who knows? Maybe the game is amazing. Again, at least it's PvE focused like Helldivers 2 was. But either way, with very uninspiring character designs that so clearly are meant to check the diversity boxes, like look, we have the black guy with a bow and arrow, a pink-haired Asian girl, because that makes sense in this world, or again, that huge red-haired absolute refrigerator of a woman with a peg leg, which makes no sense by the way. The people in Horizon are used to utilizing robotic machine parts for all sorts of their everyday activities in case you never played it, and this unit of a woman would probably have a robot leg at the very least, not a literal wooden peg leg. Like, it just makes no sense. They just added the peg leg to hit the disability checklist of their character creation needs and wants, I guess. But again, none of these things are what people really wanted either way. They tried to push Horizon Lego. That flopped. They pushed Horizon VR. Did anyone even play that game? Now they have Horizon Hunters. And did you also know there's actually also an MMO set in the world of Horizon that is coming in the future too, called Horizon Frontiers? I thought Hunters and Frontiers were honestly the same thing, but apparently they're not. So you're getting an MMO that is set in the world of Horizon as well. Why? Probably because Herman Hulst, who ran Guerrilla Games when Horizon was first made, eventually became head of PlayStation Studios, and obviously wants to push his franchise to be the face of the company despite literally nobody wanting that at all clearly. Like, take that in for a second. We have a Horizon Monster Hunter live service spin-off game that looks like Fortnite. We have Horizon Lego, Horizon VR, a Horizon MMO coming. And they already remade Horizon Zero Dawn for PS5, a game that wasn't even 10 years old because Herman Hulst is hellbent on pushing his baby onto all of us whether we want it or not. Yet Bloodborne is still sitting on the PS4 with no PS5 port, no sequel or spin-off game. Like, what are we doing? This is why I honestly just keep rolling my eyes about this current generation of games. It's just too much of the same thing over and over, with nothing really standing out apart from like a very few games at best. Like when I look at Highguard or Horizon Hunters, I guess, or anything else in that like same level, I guess, we want to put it that way, whatever. There's like a collective why. Why does this exist in the first place? Like, do we really need this many live service games? The answer is no, by the way. But I mean, even Overwatch is going to relaunch itself soon, and then they're going to drop the 2, and then that's going to become another major competitor in the space that everyone's going to be fighting against as well. So people really need to ask themselves when making these games, how does the average person, never mind like streamers or YouTubers, like have the time to play Highguard, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, Horizon, God knows what, whatever it's called, and like whatever other future live service games is, plus Arc Raiders and Fortnite and Battlefield and Call of Duty. I'm running out of breath, dude. There's too many live service games. You can't. That's the answer. It's impossible. Like, I do YouTube full time. Even I don't have the time to play all of these games fully because it's just not reasonable. How do you expect the average person to do that too? All right, let me grind my dailies in Highguard, then my dailies in Rivals and in Overwatch. Oh, gotta hunt some dinosaur robot things in my Horizon Fortnite spin-off game. No. No, it just can't be this way. All of these games and more, they're just running on a hamster wheel forever, expecting you to willingly climb on and run alongside with them. Like I said in another video, Highguard would be great if it was a PvE single-player co-op game like Borderlands that allowed you to explore its world. Instead, it's a siege shooter, which is apparently a new genre, but not really, where you run around opening chests to shoot the enemy team and blow up a point. Wow, thanks game, that's amazing. Instead, you have games doing well like Neo 3. Look at its Steam charts on screen here. Wow, it hit an all-time high of almost 90,000 players, and those people paid full price for the game too. I keep noticing this, like the games that are doing well mostly are usually single player. I think in general, we're just kind of tired of this genre, if you will. Even the Horizon fans can't even lie to themselves about this either, like the gamer of all people, as seen here, even admits that the fan reaction to Horizon Hunters has been anything but positive. They continue further with this paragraph about how people in general haven't been positive about Horizon for a really long time, and that even the subreddit for the series is also up in arms over this Hunter's Gathering game, and this alongside what Highguard is going through is a good litmus test for how these things usually go. Big start in players, it drops, and then it either finds an audience or it just dies. And the reason why I'm bringing up Highguard and such and everything else is simple, okay? The cost is just too much most of the time. Look at this from Variety. 1/3 of American video game devs have also been laid off in the last 2 years already. That's kind of worrying, isn't it? As the report states here, those at AAA studios were highly likely to have experienced layoffs at their companies. 2/3 of respondents at AAA studios said their companies had layoffs. 1/3 of people working at indie studios reported the same. A big push, by the way, is unionization, but the majority of people who responded to the survey that want unions in games were people that were apparently making less money while making games. Either way, it really doesn't matter. The games industry needs to fix itself before it explodes overnight. Like, I feel for the Highguard team because I can see the sparks of brilliance in it. Unfortunately, I don't think what they're offering is ever really going to be enough to heal themselves because at their core, the experience is just honestly flawed by design. It's not that I think Wildlight, which makes Highguard, is a bad studio or anything like that. I mean, this is their only game so far, but that their talents, honestly, in my opinion, they feel as if they're being wasted, just chasing another live service game for the 50 millionth time already. We've seen what happens when developers who are tired of AAA end up leaving and doing their own things. They end up making classics like Expedition 33. It just honestly saddens me that this generation of games, especially in a first-party sense, are now being reduced to let's make more of the same thing that nobody wants again and again until something sticks. Like, Sony is so hell-bent on having their 10 Helldivers 2-like launches that they're pretty much sacrificing their developers' job security on a platter to will this into existence. Like, how many Concords do we need? Which, by the way, Concord was also the brainchild of Herman Hulse, the same guy who pushed Horizon until we pivot in a new direction. I mean, I'm not even making this up, as Concord came and went. That game was claimed to be internally seen as the future of PlayStation Studios as a brand. Apparently, Concord was viewed with Star Wars-like potential, and Sony spent $400 million making that game in the first place. And then an additional $200 million was then spent between its alpha state and its official release to get that game on track. By the time it was all said and done, Concord had generated just a little over $1 million in overall sales, and that's actually real. You can go look that up yourself. Until Sony then obviously refunded everything and then took a tax break on Concord, which, by the way, by doing that, when you remove from the servers and all that, you get a sizable chunk of the money you spent on the project back. Like, I can only imagine that Highguard, like Concord, is probably going to be in a similar state. Like, not as bad, of course, like at least so far anyways. Highguard is getting close to living longer than Concord did, which I guess is a positive, but like generally speaking, it's about the same, really. Like, let's be honest. These sorts of games, like, they need active player bases, but the reality is that there's only so many people who could realistically play these games at any given time. And if you're forcing your marketing teams to push Highguard or Horizon Hunters down people's throats to make these games work, then what does that mean for your other offerings that also need support and marketing too? Now people will move away and then just move on to other things. I mean, like, a new Call of Duty is going to come out this year, isn't it? That will definitely eat into Highguard's numbers even further. Assuming that it even lives that long at that point, I kind of doubt it, but when stuff like GTA 6 launches, for example, at that point, all of these games are cooked, not just Highguard. I mean, everybody. Because every live service game will get their player bases siphoned due to GTA 6's monolithic launch when that also happens. And at that point, we really need to ask the question if any live service game in development will even be worth the time investment resources when something like GTA 6 launches proper. Nobody will be playing Highguard. Horizon Hunters, hell, even Fortnite and Arc Raiders are going to take massive hits when that game launches too. This is why people need to really ask themselves if these games are really worth the time and energy that they're spending to make these things in the first place. Don't don't get me wrong, like Highguard could have been amazing if it wasn't like, what it is now, I guess. The fact that it's also in its first season or like episode that is launched, and you basically heard like nothing about that from anybody online. I mean, doesn't that tell you everything about how this game's going right now? If you ask me, it's pretty much over unless Wildlight releases some insane update that changes the entire game in the next week or two. I honestly doubt that happening, by the way. But I wouldn't be surprised if Highguard, like Concord, gets taken down, all microtransactions get refunded, so Wildlight 2 can do a massive tax write-off on the entire project as well. They can add as many new heroes as they want, all the guns in the world. If they don't fix the core experience and reward structure, it's all frankly pointless. I would say I feel bad for live service games, but I've largely already become apathetic to their entire existence already. I gotta admit, just make more single player games. Stop chasing this trend, please, I'm begging you. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.